Hello and welcome again to another episode of One Starfish, where our mission is to help change the world one person or one starfish at a time. As always, make sure to rate, review, subscribe. That's how we get the word out about what we do. I'm excited to be joined by my friend Toni. We met in the RTA Syndicate. Now we're in the Operator Standard together. You guys hear these words lots on lots of my podcasts. Check them out. But Toni came from brick and mortar business for quite a few years. Went into MLMs for quite a few years. Now she is owner and CSO of FermaGlo for the last couple of years, and the author, speaker, business coach, a family, grandmother, mother, wife, all the things. Welcome to the show, Toni.
Angela, I'm so honored to be here today, and I'm so excited. So I can't wait to share with you, all the things, and hopefully people that are listening to your wonderful podcast will be able to take away at least one thing that they can implement to completely change the trajectory of their life, whether it be personal or professional.
It's awesome. So let's get into things. You were in a brick and mortar business for quite a few years. What got you into business ownership in the first place?
I just got sick and tired of working for the man. Being told when I could, when to be there, the entire, what to wear, how much I got paid, code of conduct, all the things. And it was like I had an epiphany one day, and I was running really busy restaurants at the time, and I was pregnant with my son. And I had a daughter about 2 years prior, and they were in daycare, and daycare took a huge chunk of my money. And I'm like, I got to do something where I can be with my kids more, run my own business, do my own thing, because I can't work these crazy 70, 80, 90-hour weeks and be a present mom. So, my husband at the time, who is now an ex-husband, and we looked at each other and we said, we can start our own thing. And so we did. And so I started a daycare, and we started a lawn service, both simultaneous at the same time. I walked away from a pretty good career in a major restaurant chain. And I just went out, didn't have insurance, didn't have any safety net, just knew that we were going to provide an incredible service and that we were going to serve others. And that's who I truly am, is a servant's heart. So had those businesses for 10 years and they ended, divorce.
Yeah, there you go. And then you got into MLMs. What got you into that? And you've been in that structure way back before it was cool. I would say, if you said 90s, but tell us a little bit what got you into it. And, what did you deal with as far as people telling you maybe it wasn't a smart idea or anything like that?
So I had shrugged off MLMs for years. And I said, oh, nobody makes money. The biggest skeptic in the world. And then my friend had a home-based business party, and she was doing really well, and she was really good in sales. She was always, the top at her game. I mean, Angela, this is how dated I'm going to date this. She used to sell for yellow book pages, right? Really hard to do. You had to cold call, walk into businesses and sell them ad space in the yellow pages. And she was always at the top of her game. And then she started in a skincare company. I rejectedly went to her house, but she was our biggest client for our lawn service, and referral after referral after referral from her. So I'm like, I got to go support her in this endeavor. Yeah. And I went in there, arms crossed like this, you weren't going to sell me anything. I tried the product. I heard from one of the top leaders in the company, and I was smitten. And I did not look back, but I did it really, really bad for about 10 years.
What does that mean? Tell us more. What does really bad mean?
I didn't understand really the MLM network marketing direct sales model, because I was always trying to push product and sell, when it's really about solving a problem, right? You're solving somebody's problem. And if you're solving someone's problem, they don't care what it takes to get that problem solved. They'll spend the money to do it. Mm-hmm. And so I was coming from a place of selling, not serving. Mm-hmm. So when I started serving people, that was the game changer.
Mm. Yes.
And that's truly who I am at heart, is I have a servant's heart. Yes. You introduced me as a CSO, even though I own the company, I don't own the company, right? It's like God is my CEO and I'm the chief steward officer, because I know that he kicked in. He kept knocking on my door. I mean, since late 2022, he was knocking on my door, telling me to start my own thing. And I just kept ignoring him until the door got kicked in.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So I had built a company and a brand. It started as their first distributor in 2014, and I took them from 0 to hero to 5 billion. Well, and it's a matter of public record, but let's be honest, because my integrity is not for sale. And I had found out that they had changed the formulations, and also too that they were skimming commissions. So I had kind of floundered for a year. I didn't know what to do. And so they made the decision for me, wrongfully terminated me. I sued them because of my integrity, and they were trying to take my name through the mud, which I will not allow, because my name is everything. My integrity is everything. So we had lawsuits, all sorts of stuff that went on. And I don't want to live in that era, because if that had not happened, our company would have not happened. I would have not started on my own and started all over at 55.
Right.
But I'm much wiser.
Yeah. And I mean, you were quite successful, high up, whatever words you want to say, in the MLM world. And that was a company you were working with. And then when that, like, honestly, those people are listening, and there's, people that probably are looking at MLMs, and I feel like you have a lot of experience, more than most. And I've also become pretty successful in that realm. What are some things that you would tell someone if they were looking at an MLM, to look for, maybe before joining, now that you've kind of like gone through some ringers, and then how to run it successfully? Serving obviously was one key point. Outside of that, what are some other things you would have for that?
Well, so the industry really needed a facelift, Angela, because it's it's in a dinosaur era right now. Every time I go to DSU, and they're talking about that, they're talking about two things, right? They're talking about their tech stack, which includes AI, and they're talking about the face-to-face in-person events. What I did is, with our company, is I filled the gaps, and I added all of this stuff into our company so that people could start with truly exactly what they needed to do. We call it like a business in a box, where it comes with the automation, the CRM, comes with all of the training. It comes with stair steps, basically food spoon feeding people exactly the steps that they need to do, because oftentimes people will go into a company and they will join and they're left in a canoe without any oars. So where are you going to go? Right? Now, there are a lot of wonderful leaders, wonderful companies out there. They have bits and pieces of it, but they don't have the full Monty. And that's where, a lot of companies that I see now, they're trying to piecemeal everything together. That's why we built a tech stack on the front end, on the back end. It helps actually with our formulations. We get products to market quicker, and they're more effective, but also giving them the tools just in the email marketing and text messaging campaigns alone, which is a huge indicator. And I've owned that software company for 5 years. So I actually have the social proof that it can help anybody in sales actually convert and put 30% more money in their pocket every single month. So it was very much needed that the industry had to have a complete, not just an end product for users to sell, but you had to give them some other tools to use. So we have AI agents. So we have 24/7 customer service. We're building some other really cool things on the front end to help our business partners, is what we call them, because they truly are partners. We're locking arms with them, with their businesses. So everything is stair step. And that's one of the things that I think that you need to look at. There are a lot of leaders that already have this in place, but companies don't. As a company, we offer it because, as a leader, being in the field on the other side of it, I saw the needs and I saw the expense.
So look for a company or leadership that has some help for you if you're getting started. What are some things to look for? Like, if you could go back to 2014 when you started with the company you were with, was there any red flags that someone would see ahead of time, or not really?
Well, I think it depends on one, you have to make sure that you're aligned with the community and the people that are in the company, right? Make sure that they're people of integrity. That's the first thing. And that goes with any job or anything that you're doing that you're putting your time and effort into. Make sure it aligns with you, because you're going to know if it doesn't align with you, because there's going to be huge red flags. Your intuition in your gut, they're there for a reason. So, and then also too, just make sure that leader or that company, that they have a give back program, or they're contributing, locally, to helping it be a better place. That's one of the big things that, we're rolling out this summer is our nonprofit arm, right? So, that whole grassroots, get involved in your local community and make sure that you are giving back and making it a better place. You also need to be looking for good, solid training. I don't think that you need a lot. You just have to be, you have to repeat, and I call it lather, rinse, repeat, but you have to be consistent, right? And you have to have discipline. If you don't have drive, there's no point in looking at something, because you'll give up after 3 months and say, oh, this thing doesn't work. Okay. Anything in life, you can see changes in 90 days, but you know what? You got to be in for the long game.
Right. Yes.
So,
that's for most people. And what is it you think, Toni, that keeps people in the long game? Why do some people win at the same company now? So the same platform, same thing, same whatever. And this could be MLM. This could be your own business. It can, and whatever. You've done it all and you've seen it all. What do you think the big deciding factor? And are people, this is a common question, people bored with it, or what can they do to train themselves to do whatever it is that you think is important to win in life, I guess?
Well, one, you have to have perseverance and grit. There are going to be times you're going to have to grit, yourself through tough situations. It's people that give up. That's mediocrity, right? You've got to see it through all the way. And so therefore, sometimes, especially when you're doing, something within, and I, it's really about, because there are different types of models out there, is that you have to do something that's in alignment with who you are. So, and there's a lot of really great companies out there, but at the same time, I don't care what you do, you have to have grit, perseverance, and you have to be on the front side of technology. There's no question. I have the saying that if you don't adapt, you die. So adaptation is very important.
And do you think people are born with that, or do you think it's something they can learn?
I think that few people are born with it, but people learn it because they see the end value of what they want. Listen, I have a lot of people that, that are in a job or a W-2 situation, and they're like, oh, I'm just going to go right out and start my own business. And I'm like, hold on for a second. Keep the W-2 while you build this on the side. Right? Learn, because entrepreneurism is the hardest thing that you will ever do in your entire life. It is going to probably require many more hours a week. It is going to require a lot more grit. You're going to be in tears sometimes. You're going to fire yourself, all sorts of different things. But you have to remember, what is the end result that you want? And I call it dream goals, because you can't have a goal without a dream, and you can't have a dream without a goal. But you have to have discipline. And look at discipline, whatever you have done in your life, because you're a subject matter expert in at least one thing that you have done in your entire life. And the other thing is that you've got to do what you're good at, not just your calling or what you enjoy. You've got to do something that you're good at, because when you're good at something, it's like John Maxwell says, right? If you're a 5 at something, don't try to be a 7, 8, or 9, right? Take your 7 or 8s and make yourself a 9 or a 10 in that category, and then outsource the rest of it and surround people that are better than you. And that's exactly what I've done, right? I am not a numbers person. I'm not detail oriented. I do not care. And I know that the attention in the details is for the win, but I have other people on my team that are wired to do that, not me. I am really good at sending the message, conversion, getting in front of people, showing them what value that they have, and then getting them to the yes. That's my superpower, just showing up for people.
Right. Yes. Know your strengths. That's so good. So you had mentioned before you started this business that you are running now, something about in a hospital or something. Tell us about that.
Okay, so I should be the biggest anti-MLMer out there after everything that's happened. But I knew that we could be better, right? That we could put something together that would be grand. And so I got this idea. I started putting it together. I didn't even go to my husband first, Angela, and I've known him since the 7th grade. Okay. I went to one of my really good friends. She's got great business sense. She's very, very successful. And I've known her for a while. And I said, well, what do you think? And she goes, well, I'm pulling up a chair to your table. And so I talked to her, and then I went to my husband like the very same day after I had talked to her. And I said, I want to do this. And he looked at me and he said, you're crazy. Well, about 4 or 5 weeks later, he was injured, and he spent 21 days in the hospital, 2 major surgeries. He was actually injured there. I sat in that hospital room and in that hospital courtyard talking to my attorneys, talking to my formulators, talking to, potential investors, laying out, like I would work on the compensation plan every day. Okay, what do we need to put in here to make this the best? What do we need to, put in the ingredients to make it the best? What is going to be effective and also, be very attractive and clean? Because that was, another big deal for us. And so I can't tell you how many countless Zoom calls I did in that hospital courtyard for those 3 weeks he was in there. So that was, I don't think I slept either. That was out of sheer determination, Angela. And, I started over at the age of 55. I took all of my knowledge and everything that I had learned in 30 years, and I put it all in one company. And that was a lot of stuff.
And when your husband got out of the out of the hospital and he told you not to do it, and now you've basically done it, how did he feel about it all?
He's really glad that we did it in the long run.
Oh, good.
It has been, let me tell you something. It's been the hardest thing I've ever done. Even though I've run, the lawn service especially was super successful. The daycare was successful too. But I felt like, with that one, I was still trading time for money where, in our landscaping business, we were running crews, right? So, but I'm going to tell you, it's not for the faint of heart. I made commitments to other people. I will see this legacy through for my children and my grandchildren, and the legacy because of the promises that I made. So one thing I cannot stand is do what you say what you do. And, we created this to provide legacy for other people, so that they could have options. And that is the biggest thing for us right now.
That's so cool. So if someone's listening to this and your mom or your dad or your husband or your wife is like, don't do whatever it is, well, maybe you should do it anyway.
Yep.
Basically. Because sometimes and you're given the calling, and other people don't have the same calling. So, and that is, I think, really important for people to always think about, is you're the one that has the calling, not other people. And sometimes you just have to go do it.
And sometimes it's going to be mostly your close friends and family members that are going to tell you don't do it.
Right, because they care for you. People are like, they're haters. I'm like, they're not haters. They just care about you. They really do. And they're like, don't know you doing something else. Like, right. And in your case, they saw what happened. He saw what happened in a previous, and he's like, I don't know that we want to go through that again, which totally makes sense. So,
yep. But we burned the boat. So we burned the boat. We jumped in with all hands, feet, everything. Jumped in, and started this company off because I knew, how it could scale very quickly, and especially with, the awesome efficacy and the cleanliness of the products, but the training that we put in place, the onboarding, everything. It's up to the individual. It's not the business model. It's the individual. You either, and Henry Ford said it, it's very simple. This is my favorite quote. You either think you can and you can, or you think you can't and you can't. It's that simple. There's no complexity about any of this at all, right? It is, you're going to put your head down and you're going to go to work. It's that simple.
Now, what do you think? I mean, you have, I would say, exceptional self-belief. And I see that a lot of people struggle with that. Seems to be a self-confidence, self-belief, that kind of thing. What is something someone can do to help grow that you would, if they were on your team, for instance, and they were lacking some of that you would help to coach them, or a book you would tell them to go toward, or anything like that could help build that self, like you said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, it's right. So how do you train yourself or work on thinking you can?
I've always been, ever since I can remember, even people tell me this as a kid, I've always been very tedious, right? If I see something that I want, I'm going to be zeroed in on that. You have to have incredible focus, and you can't get distracted. So distraction is one of the key things, and it all boils down to intention. You can have all the motivation in the world, all the inspiration in the world, but if you don't execute and you don't have that intention, then you're never going to get to where you want to go. And so I think that's why, and I know that that you and I are in, you talked about Arte, and you talked about the operator standard, is because get the book on mental toughness by Andy Frisella. He is my favorite out there. I love Ed Mylett. I love John Maxwell. I love Todd Duncan. I relate to more men than I do women because I just think it's how I'm wired. But I know that if gratitude journal, right? You're writing down things every day that you're grateful for. I am going to be a billionaire. I am going to be successful. I am going to have my dream home, X, Y, and Z. You have to have clarity on all of this. And it's when a confused mind shuts down and says no. It's because you don't have clarity in where you're going and what you're doing. So where is it that you are? Where is it that you want to be? And then you work that plan backwards and institute that action plan, right? I always say, work it backwards, because that way you'll get to that goal. Where do you want to be at? But you've got to have that action plan in place, or, it's going to be like that Yellow Brick Road. Where are you going to go right, or are you going to go left?
It's good. And guys, if you want to reach out to Toni, all her information, her company, all that stuff will be in the show notes. So definitely feel free to reach out. Tell us a little bit about your company, actually, and then we'll go into some final questions. But tell us, because if people aren't watching this, if they're watching it, you've got a lot of information behind you. So check this out on YouTube if you're listening. But tell us a little bit about your company and what the product is and what it actually does.
Okay. So, and thank you again for this opportunity, Angela. So our company is called FermaGlo. So you can find us at FermaGlo.com. And then that's all of our social media as well as at FermaGlo. But what I did is, I am an advocate, and I also am a holistic practitioner way back in the day, even before it was cool, right? But I am been educating on clean living for decades and decades. And so what I got really frustrated with were these clean beauty brands saying that they're clean when they're not, because, Angela, in this country, not like Canada, okay, there's no regulations on what they put in a bottle. Not in grocery stores, not in drugstores, not in salons or anything. So we created a fermented, clean hair care and scalp care line that is absolutely phenomenal. And, you may not know me, but people that know me know that I don't skimp in what I say, again, the whole integrity thing. So we have 9 products. We educate on scalp health, hair health. We've got clinicals, peer reviews, so much testing done, more than any other company in the world. We test specifically to make sure that there's no herbicides, pesticides, or glyphosate. No hormone disruptors, no carcinogens, because your skin is your largest organ. So everything absorbs into your bloodstream in 7 seconds, into each organ in 20 seconds. So knowing that you're putting fermented ingredients, which means basically think about the gut, right? You have microbiome there. You have microbiome on your scalp and skin. Skin's your largest organ. You're rinsing that all down your body. So, your shampoo in your shower is really important. And 99.9% of all shampoos, conditioners, hair care products, they have, anywhere from 5 to 9 ingredients that don't belong in there. Okay. Dimethicone is number 1. It's the plastic, right? Plastics are not good for you at all. So we have stabilized our products with fermented roots. Super, like I said, super effective. And the fermentation is very soothing. So 9 products, lean and mean, that works like 38. If you're in the US, we're only available right now here, you can go right to the website, and we can connect you with what you need for your hair type. And if we need to do any sort of scalp investigation, and see what you need. So that's pretty much it. And yeah, so and we have the best. I work with the best formulator. I worked with him for a number of years, and he's absolutely phenomenal.
I love that. That's awesome. So check that out, anyone. If you're looking for better hair, better scalp, all that stuff, definitely check that out. In wrapping up, I always have 3 final questions, and anything that we didn't touch on that you think you want to leave our listeners with. First and final question is, if someone's looking for their purpose, what's one sentence you would say that could help them find it?
Lean into your faith.
Hmm.
Lean into your faith and really get quiet and listen to what, I call them downloads, right? I get downloads all the time from up above, but and it's really hard for me to get quiet. But when I do, I get clear messaging. And, your purpose, and I say have pillars, right? And I have 5 pillars: faith, fitness, finance, freedom, and family, because friends are family too. And I really live my life around that. And that for me is purpose. So find out what makes you tick. Those are your pillars, and that's your purpose.
It's good. Second question, what's a favorite quote and why?
You know what? The one by Henry Ford. It's all the time. I also have Jeremiah 29:11 on I'm in my podcast studio, so I'm like looking at it. It's right here. I see it all the time. I'm sitting down here. But again, I go back to, if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't.
Cool. Third and final question, what's one word or sentence you want on your gravestone?
That I served. And
okay.
Serve, the 2. Serve, and that I provided value. And I loved. Love is the most powerful emotion. And I love what I do, Angela. I love having opportunities like this. And I just love it. Listen, just reach out to me. If there was one thing that you heard in this podcast episode, I want to know what it is, because that fills my bucket.
Awesome. I love that. All right. You're running some in the coffee shop. What's something, we touched on a lot of different things, and hopefully you guys got a lot of value. I know you did, so make sure to pass it on. But what's something we didn't touch on that you think would be really impactful for our listeners?
Okay. So I am really about self-confidence, and self-confidence, I think, comes with repetition. You've just got to get out there and start.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't, also get your ask in gear. Okay? Because if you don't ask, the answer is always no.
Cool. Ask, do the repetition. Guys, I don't have to say to share this. If we can go out there, if we can help one person or one starfish at a time together, we can help change the world. Thanks for being on, Toni.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. I'm so blessed. This was wonderful. Thank you again.